Stop. Do not put a deposit on a 2026 Toyota Rush. Not yet. I know, your uncle told you it's reliable, your neighbor has one, and it's the safe bet. But there is a new monster on the block that makes the Rush look like it belongs in a museum. It's called the Mitsubishi Destinator, and honestly, the spec sheet alone is enough to make Toyota engineers sweat. If you care about your money, you need to see the massive gap in what you get for the price, because one of these cars is a futuristic family hauler, and the other one is, well, you'll see. Look, the 7-seater game is brutal right now. For years, if you wanted a cheap, bulletproof family SUV, you bought a Toyota Rush. It didn't matter that it was slow or that the interior felt like 2010, it worked. But for 2026, Mitsubishi finally dropped the production version of that crazy DST concept we saw last year. They're calling it the Destinator. And this isn't just a facelift, this is a declaration of war. We are talking about a car that brings turbo power and luxury tech into a segment that's usually boring as rocks. Today, we are stripping these two down: engine, interior, features, and the cold hard cash. By the end of this video, you're going to realize that the safe choice might actually be the wrong choice. Let's start with the looks, because you have to look at this thing in your driveway every morning. The Toyota Rush for 2026, look, it's fine. It's handsome in a very conservative way. It's got that mini Fortuner vibe going on, which is what Toyota wants. You get the LED headlights, the roof rails, and that high stance that screams, "I can handle a pothole." It's sitting on 17-inch alloys in the G variant, and it has 220 millimeters of ground clearance. It's rugged. It looks like a truck because deep down, it's built on that older ladder frame style chassis. It's tall, narrow, and looks exactly like a Rush has looked for the last 5 years. If you want to blend into traffic and not get noticed, this is your car. Then you look at the Mitsubishi Destinator. This thing looks like it drove straight off a sci-fi movie set. It keeps almost all of the gravitas and dynamism design language from the concept car. The front grille has that 3D honeycombed acrylic shield that looks expensive. The lights aren't just bulbs, they are these T-shaped LED signatures that cut into the bumper. It's wide, it's planted, and it sits on massive 18-inch wheels that fill the arches perfectly. The biggest difference here is the stance. The Destinator is wider, about 1,840 millimeters wide, compared to the Rush, which is skinnier at around 1,695 millimeters. That extra width makes the Mitsubishi look more premium, more stable, and honestly, just cooler. The Rush looks like it's standing on its tiptoes. The Destinator looks like it's ready to pounce. Mitsubishi didn't just build a people mover, they built something you actually want to show off on Instagram. Now, this is where the massacre happens. If you're a car guy or just someone who hates struggling to merge onto the highway, listen closely. The 2026 Toyota Rush is sticking to its guns. It is still using the 1.5-liter 2NRVE engine. It's naturally aspirated, meaning no turbo. It pushes out 104 horsepower and 136 newton-meters of torque. And in most markets, it's still paired to a 4-speed automatic. Yes, 4 speeds in 2026. Now, I'm not saying it's bad, it is bulletproof. That engine will run for 500,000 kilometers with just oil changes. But 104 horsepower in a 7-seater? When you hit a steep hill, you're going to be mashing that gas pedal and praying. The engine screams, the noise fills the cabin, but the speedometer barely moves. It feels heavy and lethargic. Flip the script to the Mitsubishi Destinator. Mitsubishi took the 4B40 engine, that's the 1.5-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder, and dropped it in here. We are talking about 162 horsepower and 250 newton-meters of torque. Let me repeat that numerical difference. Toyota Rush, 136 newton-meters of torque. Mitsubishi Destinator, 250 newton-meters of torque. That is almost double the pulling power. When you step on the gas in the Destinator, it actually moves. You don't have to plan your overtakes 3 business days in advance. It uses a CVT transmission, which some people hate, but Mitsubishi has tuned it to feel snappy. Plus, you get driving modes: wet, gravel, mud, and normal. It's front-wheel drive, unlike the Rush, which is rear-wheel, but with Mitsubishi's active yaw control, the Destinator handles corners flat and fast. The Rush leans and wobbles in corners because of that tall, narrow body. The Destinator drives like a modern crossover. The Rush drives like an old truck. Open the door and the gap gets even wider. Inside the Toyota Rush, it's very durable. That's the nice word for it. It's hard plastics everywhere on the dashboard and door panels. The design is vertical and upright. You get a 7-inch or maybe 9-inch touchscreen depending on the region, but the software feels a bit dated. The instrument cluster is analog dials with a small digital screen in the middle. It's functional. It has Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, sure, but it feels like a workspace. It's built to survive toddlers kicking the seats and spilling juice. It's not luxurious, but it's tough. You sit high up, which gives you a commanding view, but the seats are a bit flat and don't offer much support for long trips. Step into the Destinator and you feel like you jumped 10 years into the future. Mitsubishi is using what they call the horizontal axis design. The dashboard is covered in soft-touch fabric, specifically called melange, which feels like high-end furniture. You have this massive monolithic display panel, a 12.3-inch digital driver display connected to a 12.3-inch infotainment screen. The graphics are crisp, the response is fast, and it looks premium. And we have to talk about the sound. The top-spec Destinator comes with the dynamic sound Yamaha Premium audio system. It has 8 speakers, and the sound quality is genuinely insane for this price point. It adjusts the bass and treble according to the car's speed. The Rush, it has a basic 6-speaker system that sounds tinny when you turn it up. Also, the Destinator has a wireless charger, ambient lighting with 64 colors, and dual-zone climate control with Nano X air purification. The Rush has standard air conditioning. It's just not a fair fight in here. Okay, let's be fair to the Toyota. This is the one category where the Rush fights back. Because the Rush is rear-wheel drive and built on a semi-ladder frame, it is tough. If you live in an area with terrible roads, deep floods, or you constantly carry heavy loads over rocks, the Rush's suspension can take a beating that might make the Destinator wince. It has that 220 millimeters of ground clearance, which is class-leading. However, in terms of passenger space, the Destinator wins on comfort. Because it's wider, you aren't rubbing shoulders with the passenger next to you. The second row in the Destinator splits 40-20-40, which is super flexible, and you can recline the seats. The third row in both cars is tight. Let's be real, these are compact 7-seaters. Adults won't be happy in the back of either car for a long trip, but for kids, they're fine. But here's a detail people miss: the floor. The Rush sits on a frame, so the floor is high. You have to climb into it. The Destinator is a monocoque, or unibody, so the floor is lower, making it easier for your grandma or your toddlers to get in and out while still having high ground clearance. It's the best of both worlds.
Now we have to talk about money, because this is usually the deal breaker. The Toyota Rush is cheaper. In the Philippines, for example, the top-spec Rush GRS is sitting around 1.2 million pesos. In other markets, it's consistently the entry-level option. If your budget is tight and you strictly need 7 seats and a badge that says Toyota, the Rush is hard to beat for the price. You are paying for simplicity and reliability. The Mitsubishi Destinator commands a premium. We are looking at a price tag starting around 1.3 million and going up to 1.9 million for the fully loaded GT or Ultimate variant. That is a significant jump. You could almost buy 2 used cars for the price of one top-spec Destinator. But you have to ask yourself, what are you paying for? With the Rush, you are paying for 15-year-old technology that works. With the Destinator, you are paying for a modern turbo engine, advanced safety features like blind spot warning, rear cross traffic alert, and that stunning interior. I have to touch on this because I know the comment section will go crazy if I don't. Toyota reliability is legendary. The 2NRVE engine and 4-speed auto in the Rush are practically immortal. Parts are available in every corner store from Manila to Cape Town. Any mechanic can fix it with a hammer and a wrench. It is the safe bet. The Destinator is using a turbo engine and a CVT. Now, Mitsubishi makes great engines. The 4B40 is solid, but a turbo engine requires more care. You need to be stricter with oil changes. CVTs are smoother, but they don't like being abused as much as a 4-speed gearbox. If you plan to keep the car for 20 years and treat it poorly, the Rush might actually be the better long-term survivor. But if you maintain your cars properly, the Destinator shouldn't give you issues. So here is the verdict. If you're buying a car purely as a tool, something to haul people from point A to point B through floods and bad roads, and you want to spend the absolute minimum amount of money on purchase and maintenance, go buy the Toyota Rush. It's an appliance. It's a refrigerator on wheels. It will do the job, but you will never ever look back at it after you park it. But if you want a car that makes you feel something, if you want passing power on the highway, if you want an interior that feels like a lounge instead of a waiting room, if you want the tech, the safety, and the looks, then you have to save up the extra cash for the Mitsubishi Destinator. The gap in performance, 162 horsepower versus 104 horsepower, is just too big to ignore. The Destinator feels like a 2026 vehicle. The Rush feels like a 2015 vehicle that's been kept alive. For me, life is too short to drive boring cars. I'd take the Destinator every single day of the week. Hit that subscribe button if you'd pick the Turbo over the Toyota.